Jacob deGrom got the better of Hunter Brown and the Astros in Arlington on Friday night. Thursday night, it was Texas winning 1-0 against the Astros. It's MLB Game Night, every game, every night, and we are underway.
When that final out is made, you know it's time for Locked On MLB Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On MLB Game Night. Your team every day.
Well, on Thursday, the Dodgers put a thumping on the A's. Reds were able to avoid a shutout and a series finale loss against the White Sox, and the Braves got back to 500 again. And we mentioned Jacob deGrom getting better of Hunter Brown and the Houston Astros. With that, we welcome you into MLB Game Night. He is Lindsay Crosby, host of Locked On Braves Postcast. You can follow Lindsay on the X, formerly known as Twitter, at Crosby Baseball. I'm Steve Lenox, host of the Locked On Red Sox Postcast. You can follow me on the X at Lenox on Baseball. Lindsay, we get right into it. You know I love the 1-0 games. It's like the baseball gods were on my side on Thursday. Rangers win 1-0. They extend their win streak to 6 straight games. We're going to get both sides of this one. And right now, we're going to start with Bryce from Locked On Rangers as he gives the side with Jacob deGrom, the 36-year-old right-hander, putting the sun once again back up in the sky as he continues to put together a terrific season for the Rangers.
The Rangers win yet again, a 1-0 win over the Houston Astros with a glorious game from Jacob deGrom. I'm Bryce Patrick, host of the Locked On Rangers podcast. This was a pitcher's duel to its finest. It looked like it was going to be from the beginning. Hunter Brown, a great start to the year. Jacob deGrom, the best pitcher in baseball, and a 1-0 win for the Rangers. The only run coming off the bat of Jake Burger, a solo home run. He has looked fantastic ever since he has come back up from the minors. Jacob deGrom, his first start against the Astros, he looked incredible. The Rangers looked incredible. They only got one run, but hey, that's all they needed. That is all they needed. The Rangers have been just on a winning streak. The offense has looked much better. Hunter Brown looked incredible. A great start for him. But Jacob deGrom was just better. 8 innings of shutout ball for him. And then the save closed off by Sean Armstrong. His second save of the season. Both of them coming this week. A great game for the Rangers. A great win in a rivalry game.
Lindsay, that's Bryce's side with the Rangers, and yeah, he said it was a glorious performance, and it really was. We'll hear from H-Town in just a moment, H-Town Wheelhouse. But deGrom, I thought he was going to be done after 7. He goes back out there for the 8th inning, finishes it off nicely. He was still throwing his fastball, 4-seam fastball, 96, 97. At bat against Altuve, looking at StatCast, with his slider, he was just missing down in the zone and off the plate to the right-handed batter. He was just outstanding. I'm glad he was able to go 8.
Yeah, when you're looking at these post-Tommy John guys, you're always worried about what's the velocity, where are they sitting, and how's the control. And the thing for deGrom, he talked about this in spring, like he wasn't trying to throw as hard as he did when he was with the Mets and when he first joined the Rangers because he wanted to stay healthy. He wanted to go deep into games. And it feels like he's starting to get back to some of the old Jacob deGrom velocities. He's not throwing 100 consistently, but it feels like he has it if he needs it, right? So being able to hold 97 deep into the game, you feel really good. The sliders, he was missing just off the plate. It was really close. I'm confident in saying Jacob deGrom is back. And then Jake Burger is obviously back too.
And Bryce mentioned that, and kudos to Burger for going down to the minors. It was not a long time that he was down there, but he comes back up with the right attitude. Whatever they worked on, hey, he hits the home run. And I wonder in this one, if Jacob deGrom thought, hey, it's a 1-0 game. I'm in a pitcher's duel. I got a very fine line here. Am I in a Met uniform here, or am I in a Rangers uniform? Because he had a lot of those games where he got almost no run support during his Mets tenure.
I can remember like so many Jacob deGrom goes 7 scoreless and the Mets lose 2-1 in 9. And I want to say he had a half season where I think he averaged less than 2 runs a game of support. But yeah, it was vintage deGrom in every way. The lack of run support, but the great stuff, the strikeouts. The big thing for me is 1 walk. That's
Yeah.
something we talk about, the control for a post Tommy John guy. Jacob deGrom's never walked a bunch of guys, but this dude is back, and all of a sudden now it means the Rangers can be a little bit scary because they can take down anybody on Jacob deGrom Day.
Yeah, and he's now won 4 consecutive starts. We're going to get to the Astros side of this one in just a moment. A theme for us recently has been that tough luck loss. Hunter Brown had that. But for the Rangers, they've now won 6 in a row. Last time we were together, we were talking about the Mariners and world beaters. And right now, the Rangers with this stretch, including 2 out of 3 last weekend in Detroit, where they took 2 out of 3 against the Tigers, they're right there neck and neck in that AL West for the top spot.
Yeah, and I feel like this division is going to go back and forth. Whoever gets hot is going to take over the lead. The question is going to be, when you're not on that winning streak, how quickly can you get back in the win column? I feel like that's going to be the big determinant here. But the Rangers offense has struggled until they fired the hitting coach and brought in a new one. The pitching obviously has come around with deGrom taking this form. I think the Rangers can legitimately make a push to win this division, but it's going to be tightly contested and probably more than we thought it was when the season started.
And as deGrom pitches well, and he's that 1 or 2 on your staff, you still need Rocker. You still need Evaldi to pitch like a 1 or 2 and an ace of a staff, and you need Jack Leiter as well. Those guys need to contribute to this pitching staff. We heard from the Rangers and Bryce. Let's get the Astros perspective.
Before we go to the Astros, let's mention what we're with the Rangers, Bruce Bochy.
Yes, milestone.
Yes, 2,195 wins. He passes Sparky Anderson, now 6th on the all-time list. If you'd asked me who was 6th on the list, I would not have guessed Bruce Bochy.
Yeah, Hall of Fame manager down the road. Whenever he decides to walk away and a Hall of Fame manager at some point in Cooperstown in the future. Again, H-Town, wheelhouse, the other side, and the perspective from the Astros.
Well, the Houston Astros out-hit the Rangers 5-3, but that wasn't the score. Hello, I'm H-Town Wheelhouse here with Locked On Astros, and a pitcher's duel ensued. Hunter Brown looked amazing, went into the 8th inning, really for the first time this year, striking out 9 once again, but a solo shot to Jake Burger was the undoing of the Astros. The Astros 5 hits. They actually were hitting the ball on the button. They were barreling baseballs up, but the Rangers defense had an answer. There was a Paredes flyout that would have been a home run in 7 or 8 parks in the major leagues, including Dyken Park. So the Astros were snake bit tonight by what? Baseball. That's what happens. The other team plays defense. You make one mistake. That's the razor thin margin that the pitchers have with this offense and its inconsistency. Stay tuned into Locked On Astros. We're your team every day.
And it's a great point. And, the Astros, I mentioned, Mariners and Rangers right there, but Houston's right there as well in that division. We can't forget about the Astros because, again, Hunter Brown. I said it to you, I think one of our last shows, Hunter Brown, top 15 pitcher in Major League Baseball. And not that I sensed a pause from you, but you certainly can make an argument. Anyone can make an argument. He might be a top 10 guy.
Yeah, I think the pause was your initial reaction is to say, there's no way. There's no way. And then you stop and you think and you're like, well, hang on. How many guys would you actually take over Hunter Brown in both a single game or a season? And that list is pretty small. And so, yeah, top 15, top 10, absolutely where Hunter Brown deserves. And he's done a lot of the work, right? He's changed his pitch mix. He's added new stuff, getting that sinker and things like that. He's built himself into this. It's not just kind of random luck. He's worked hard for it, but Houston now has a path forward if they can't bring back Framber Valdez, knowing they still have a dude who can anchor rotation for you.
All right, I want to hit one more point here.
Yes.
Game 1 of a 4-game series. Globe Life Field, Thursday night, 1-0 game deGrom Brown. That's a great pitching matchup. It's the Texas rivalry, everything. Capacity, 40,000. Paid attendance, 28,108. Am I okay to be disappointed with that number?
I mean, it's a Thursday night. So maybe a little, yeah, you are disappointed. I mean, there should be more people there, especially with this pitching matchup. Jacob deGrom, Hunter Brown, 2 aces. This is an opening day matchup. This is an opening day pitching matchup. Even though it's a Thursday, there should be more people there than that.
All right, I'm going to tie in the AL Central standings with this one because the Twins finish off a series sweep, Lindsay, against the Orioles on Thursday. They've now won 11 in a row. They've made up ground, but they're still looking up at the Tigers, Guardians, and Royals all in that division.
Yeah, I mean, this is I feel like I never really know who's going to win this division. And it's been the Twins had such a tough fall off last year, right? They were in a playoff spot. What was it? The trade deadline. And from there they cratered. Detroit took it. Now you're in something. Minnesota's won 11 straight and they're still in fourth place. They've won 11 straight games and they're in fourth place. If you asked me which division had 4 teams over 500, I do not think I would have said the AL Central. If you'd asked me back
right now,
if you'd asked me back in March, which division is going to have 4 teams over 500 in mid-May, it would have taken me a while to get to the AL Central.
Yeah, absolutely. In this one, a big storyline. I almost wonder, shame on these two guys, because Byron Buxton, Carlos Correa, third inning with Chris Paddock picking up the win, 3 hits, no runs, and combining on the shutout win against the Orioles. But Correa and Buxton both had to leave the game. In this game, they're both in concussion protocol. Mm-hmm. I watched it a couple of times, and there's no way these two veterans should be colliding on a ball to the outfield like that. There's got to be better communication.
The thing that's tough for me is Buxton's been open about he's trying to be more careful on defense so that he can play a whole season. And we saw that last year for the first time. But like when he gets to the wall, he's being more careful about contact with the wall. He's being careful about when he dives and how he does stuff. And so it's very out of character for him to be aggressive. I'm personally thinking that maybe Correa knew that. And so Correa assumed either he wasn't going to get here or he wasn't going to be able to make a dive and get this ball. But you're right. They're veterans. They've got to call that. You've got to be able to hear somebody in that situation. Baseball fundamentals, the center fielder, the guy coming in, is supposed to be calling off the shortstop there. I don't know if Buxton pulled up thinking Correa had it and then the ball carried, or if Buxton just genuinely did not call him off. But both guys in concussion protocol, and then Willie Castro got banged up later and stayed in the game.
And that's the Twins.
Guys, they can't lose. Yeah.
Yeah. And, as I first watched it in the collision, Buxton and Correa, I thought, they didn't hit that hard. I watched it a second time, like, they hit hard. And it was almost
Correa went off the ground pretty hard.
Yeah.
Buxton actually stayed in the game and then came out the next inning,
right?
Which is obviously a little bit worrisome, too, that he initially looked okay and then was like, no, I'm not feeling okay. I have to come out. That's a little more worrisome for me, because that does make you worry about a concussion. We'll see what happens with both these guys tomorrow.
Ohtani goes deep twice. Dodgers go deep 5 times, and a thumping of the A's in the series finale in Los Angeles at Dodger Stadium. We hear from Jeff, our Locked On Dodgers expert, and Booney like you've never seen him before. That's the tease right there, and that's next.
Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical, Supply House is a reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. It's a DIYer's dream. Plus, they have a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400-plus top brands. You'll find exactly what you need, delivered fast, from coast to coast. If you need help with an order, Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for the trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage, and now it's your turn. So join the Trade Master program today, supplyhouse.com/TM, and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, anybody, professionals or DIYers, can use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com.
Back at it, MLB Game Night, every game, every night. And Lindsay, during that break, I flipped a coin.
Okay.
And I'm going Booney first here.
Okay.
Because the Dodgers, they're all 3 of these games lopsided affairs, including the finale, 19 to the final, 5 home runs I mentioned in the tease for the Dodgers, 2 from Shohei Ohtani. He did strike out in the 9th inning against Johnny Pareda, but Booney's got the perspective from the A side, and this is something that we just truly have never seen before on MLB Game Night.
This is Booney from Locked On A's, and the A's came in hot with bats ablaze, a ragtag crew, and neon haze. We thought we'd stun the Chavez crowd. Instead, they made our bullpen bow. First inning, May. Just gave up 3, but it's fine. We fight. We're scrappy, free. Then came the 4th. Then came the flood. Dodger bats drank our blood. Mookie hit one to Reseda. Freddie danced like a ballerina. Our fans, just 30 in the crowd. One guy wore a Cell shirt, loud and proud. Another yelled, "Viva Las Vegas," from the crowd. And as the Dodgers dropped double digits on our dome, we quietly Googled cheap flights home. So we lick our wounds, we mem our pain, we take our shot in sun or rain. One day we'll win, one day they'll cry. Till then, we drink and ask God why.
We had to open with that, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that was phenomenal. That was. I mean, he set the bar
for
so
those
high
of you,
for himself.
For those of you on audio, he's got a giant straw hat, sunglasses, indoors, holding a giant 1 liter bottle of alcohol, of adult beverage. It's my goodness, Booney.
If that was wine, it would have been a perfect 10 if it was a box of wine. That's just my opinion.
There you go.
This is a stretch for the Athletics where they dropped 2 out of 3 to Seattle. They dropped 2 out of 3 to the Yankees. They dropped 2 out of 3 in this series, and they get absolutely thumped by the Dodgers. But there's still a 500 team right now. This stretch is now in the rearview mirror. They no longer have to look at this on the schedule and say that's a daunting 9-10 game stretch. This is now in the rearview mirror. Didn't go the way they wanted it, but it's now in the past.
Well, you say that. They go to the Giants next. So it's
True,
not
it's not a division leader.
Easier. Not the division leader. Giants. Then they get the Angels for 4. Shout out our buddy John with Locked On Angels. And then Phillies, then Astros. It's you get a little bit of a break, but it's only a little bit of a break. And that it does make you feel good though about their chances to. They're still at 500 despite this stretch to open the month of May. And then after that, it has to be easier, right? It has to be simpler. I'm starting to believe a little bit in the ability of the A's, if the pitching comes around, to potentially make wild card noise because the fact they're still 500 despite this.
100%. And we touched on the Mariners, the Rangers, and the Astros in that AL West. This Athletics team for at least one more year can just absolutely be a thorn in the side of those 3 teams in that division. I want to share this one with you because I had it on MLB Network, and they had the Dodgers broadcasters, and Jason Alexander, 2 1/3 in relief, 7 hits, 9 earned runs. And I don't know who it was with Joe Davis, but they're like, how about Alexander still being out there? And the commentator, the analyst was wearing it. And then Joe Davis says he might be out there until his arm falls off.
I'm a little bit concerned if Jason Alexander has options, he may not be around tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's at a certain point, there's rules about when you can get position players in, and they did that. They got a position player in late. But this is the best way to handle this, is you need somebody to just say, listen, I know my ERA for the season is going to look bad, but this is what the team needs. And the thing that drives me nuts is when you see a guy step up and do something like that and then get DFA'd the next day. That's always the hardest situation for me to handle.
And I think I mentioned it, but Johnny Pareda got roughed up in that bottom of the 8th inning, pitching as a position player. And he was hitting 89, 90. He was down and up a little bit. And he did strike out Shohei Ohtani with 2nd and 3rd and less than 2 outs in that 8th inning. We heard from Booney. Let's get the Dodgers perspective. And with that, we're going to welcome in our guy, Jeff, Locked On Dodgers expert for us.
Dalton Rushing made his Major League debut, and if we're not careful, we might make him think Major League Baseball is a little too easy. What's up? This is Jeff Snyder from Locked On Dodgers. Rushing had a big game. He was on base 3 times, scored all 3 times, looked very good, 2 hits and a walk. But the big story was Dodgers beat the A's 19-2, 5 home runs for the Dodgers, 2 by Shohei Ohtani on his 2nd bobblehead night of the year. He has now homered on 3 of his 4 Dodgers bobblehead nights during his tenure with the Dodgers. James Outman hit another home run and hit his first single of the year. Also, Max Muncy homered for the 2nd straight game, and Andy Pages homered for the 2nd straight game. Overall, the Dodgers had 18 hits and 8 walks, 26 base runners, and they went 9 for 13 with runners in scoring position. Just a shellacking. The pitching shut down the A's. 2 runs, just a few hits. Dominant bullpen game for the Dodgers, and a great way to jump into the big leagues for Dalton Rushing. Be sure to check out Locked On Dodgers on YouTube and wherever you get podcasts every weekday morning.
Go ahead, Lindsay, on this one from the Dodgers' perspective.
This is what they're supposed to do, right? Like, you're supposed to be able to take down teams that are not as talented as you. And I understand most teams are not as talented as you, but this is expected. And that's the hard part, right? Is they lost, I want to say they lost game 1, 11-1. And a lot of Dodgers fans were mad. Like, it's hard to beat any team 3 times, but you could tell the players had a little bit in there too, because they took care of this. And this is an example right here of how the pitching is going to hold back the A's. 1 2/3 innings for starter Osvaldo Bido. Like, in a bullpen game, they got beat by 17.
Let's move on. Nationals, Braves in Atlanta wrapping up their series on Thursday. The Braves do take the finale with that. At 500, Lindsay, and we'll get your thoughts here in just a moment. At 500 now for the second time in 3 days, now off to Boston. We'll touch on that as well. But let's hear from Jake, your partner, Locked On Braves, as they do take 3 out of 4 from an NL East rival.
Braves bounce back and get a series win over the Washington Nationals on a Thursday. Jake Mastriani here from Locked On Braves, and A.J. Smith-Shawver, another great performance. He goes 6 innings, 1 run, but it was unearned, and he continues to figure things out at the big league level and is gaining more and more confidence each time out there. And it's just really great to see a young kid, still just 22 years old, continuing to develop and get better. Fastball sitting 96, was able to touch 99 a couple of times, but that splitter is just a devastating pitch that he continues to get swings and misses on. And it looks like he's going to stay in the rotation as the Braves decided to option Bryce Elder with Spencer Strider set to rejoin the rotation next week. So A.J. Smith-Shawver, again, continuing to prove why he's been the Braves' top prospect for a while. He and Drake Baldwin, who had a 3-hit day on Thursday as well to help the Braves offense. I'll talk more about both of those guys on the next episode of A Locked On Braves.
All right, again, they'll have an opportunity. Chris Sale, Garrett Crochet, series opener at Fenway Park in Boston to go over 500 for the first time this season on Friday. This takes me back. I mean, deGrom pitching like he did with the Mets. This takes me back with the Braves. Schuerholz, Leo Mazzoni, Bobby Cox, developing pitching.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have it's not an embarrassment of riches because you just never know. But right now they just continue, and I think it's a great formula. Build your pitching from your farm system. And yet again, a 22-year-old is up, and he's going to solidify himself in the Braves rotation.
Look at the last couple of years, the guys that they've brought up to the majors out of the farm system. Spencer Strider, Spencer Schwellenbach, A.J. Smith-Shawver. And there's more behind them in the farm system. A.J. Smith-Shawver's last 3 starts since he came back from the minors, 0.46 ERA.
That's good.
I mean, it's not bad, Steve. It's not bad. Between that and then Drake Baldwin, the rookie catcher, 3 for 4, scores a couple runs today. He leads all MLB rookies that are qualified, 20 or more at bats in batting average, in on base, in slug, in WRC plus. Like he is the best rookie hitter in baseball right now. And the Braves seem to do this, right? I remember Spencer Strider, Michael Harris came up at the same time, right? Like they just seem to every year, it's not a good farm system, but they seem to find guys who just come up and are amazing. Drake Baldwin's been that, A.J. Smith-Shawver's been that, and they've really helped stabilize a team that started off slowly with that 0-7 start.
Nationals got a victory on Wednesday, but they've lost 8 of 9, just 5 wins in their last 17. Still, Ryan from Locked On Nationals is still riding high from that victory on Wednesday. We hear from him.
I don't know if I'm riding off a high from last night's win, but the Nationals, they lost 5-2 today, and weirdly, I don't feel that bad about it. The Nationals offense could not get going. They did have that home run by C.J. Abrams, ultimately lost the game 5-2 against the Atlanta Braves. They lost 3 of the 4 games against the Braves. The Braves are back to 500. The Nationals, we're not going to talk about the record right now, but I will say this. I've crushed the bullpen all season long. I was really impressed with what we saw today. Trevor Williams couldn't even get through 5 innings. Typical for him. But at this point, this Nationals bullpen with these younger arms, they are looking better. I'm starting to kind of see the future of it. And no longer are we the worst bullpen in baseball, and that counts.
That's great perspective right there. Nationals will be in Baltimore. We really didn't touch on the Orioles being swept by the Twins because the Twins are riding high, 11-game win streak. The Orioles are just going in the wrong direction right now overall. And, the Nationals, this is going to be an up and down season. But if they can sniff and get close to 500, I say not all-star break, but trade deadline through the end of the season, I think that's a building block for the Nationals. Real quick, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, they have the ability to move some veteran pitchers, Kyle Finnegan if they want to, some starters, but they've got a lot of younger pieces in the system still waiting to come up. Brady House at third base is going to be fun. The Nationals, they're on the upswing. They're not a team that I'm thrilled to have to face. I'd rather face the Marlins than face the Nationals in the system. And I think they could be next year's version of what we're talking about the A's being, right? They're pesky, the offense is good, and you're going to have to play your best to take a series from them.
The Reds on Thursday avoiding the series sweep against the White Sox, and the Rays take the series north of the border against the Blue Jays. This is MLB Game Night. All right, our guy Jeff Carr, there's a man crush here, Lindsay. Reds win the finale against the White Sox on Thursday, avoid losing a fourth in a row. And again, they avoid being swept by the White Sox because that's just a thing that you don't want happening. But here's Jeff Carr, as I mentioned, got a little man crush right now on Mr. Benson.
Let me tell you about my friend Will Benson, who just had a heck of a day on Thursday as the Reds avoided a sweep from the Chicago White Sox. Yeah, I know that sounds weird, but it's all good. What's up? This is Jeff Carr from the Locked On Reds podcast. And yeah, big picture-wise, not a great series for the Cincinnati Reds, but they did get the win on Thursday. And Will Benson was the story. It was a good day for Matt McClain. L.A. De La Cruz hit a home run. It was a good day overall for the lineup. But it's all about Will Benson for me because he has made play after play in this series after having to take over center field from an injured TJ Friedl. And on Thursday, he went off, had a home run, had 3 RBIs. He looked great at the plate. Maybe he's heating up. And I'm going to tell you what, this team with a dangerous Will Benson, the guy that we saw in 2023, not the guy we saw in 2024, that's a bit of a different ball club. Looking forward to seeing more from him.
And for me, Lindsay, I'm still looking forward to seeing more from this Reds team overall. I think there's a lot more in the tank, and I give credit there as well of Terry Francona is going to bring this out, understanding the long season that they have in front of them.
Yeah, I feel like they've underperformed a bit. Given the ballpark that they're in, the offense has been a little disappointed. I know they've had some injuries, right? Christian Encarnacion Strand still out. They've had some guys back and forth, but it feels like they should have been able to do more than they've done, especially with some of the great pitching like Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo. So a little bit disappointed. I want to say they're 9-12 at home going into today's game. So now 10-12 at home, not where you want to be when you're in that ballpark with that offense.
Yeah, and that fan base is ready to support you 100% at home. In the situation you're in now, with even we talked about the Nationals, win at home, excite your fan base, and that's what the Reds have the opportunity to do here. They did lose 2 out of 3, but again, they avoid the series sweep against the White Sox. We do have the White Sox perspective on this one, as they did miss out on completing a series sweep. And with that, we welcome in Todd Welter, our Locked On White Sox expert.
The White Sox were never in this one, and that is why the win streak ends at the minimum of 3. Hey, at least the White Sox played good enough baseball to take 2 of 3 this series. Give Bryce Wilson credit for being willing to wear this defeat, as the Sox bullpen really needed a breather after some heavy work over the past couple of games. Hello, I'm Todd Welter, host of Locked On White Sox, and the White Sox get crushed by the Cincinnati Reds 7-1. Wilson just did not have it today on the mound, but he was willing to take it on the chin through 5 1/3 as he gave up 3 home runs, 10 hits, and 7 earned runs. At least by throwing 90 pitches, guys who have been actually getting critical late outs lately, like Cam Bouger, Mike Vassell, and Jordan Leisure, they got a day to rest up as the Sox head to Wrigley to take on their crosstown rivals this weekend, and I'll have more on tomorrow's episode of Locked On White Sox.
Yeah, rivalry weekend, and it just doesn't matter where the Cubs and White Sox are with the record. That's going to be a fun series for the weekend. Our final game from Thursday, the Rays take care of business in Toronto and knock off the Blue Jays 8-3 in the finale. With that, they take 2 out of 3 in the series. And we welcome in our Rays expert. Kevin Weiss has more on the Rays' victory in the finale.
Hey, this is Kevin Weiss with the Locked On Rays podcast. The Tampa Bay Rays took down the Toronto Blue Jays by a score of 8-3. The big storyline was the return of Josh Lowe to the lineup. He had missed all season. He actually played the first game of the season, then got hurt, and now is back. And it was a big showing for him as he had 3 hits, including a home run. He also had a lot of help with Brandon Lowe hitting homers number 6 and 7, and then the squad combined got 14 hits. We saw much more offense in this series from the Tampa Bay Rays, especially in Game 1 and then in today's Game 3. So we'll see if they'll be able to keep it up in another dome-like environment as they face the Miami Marlins, who are the worst team in the NL East. So the Rays have been very up and down. We'll see if they can continue to build on this solid hot streak.
Yeah, I'm glad that he clarified when he said the names. Full disclosure, I've never gotten Josh Lowe versus Brandon Lowe. I never know which one's Lowe and which one's Lowe. I've never known.
It's as if you are reading my mind when
I've
Kevin was
never
speaking
known.
there.
And then Nathaniel too. I think
Yeah.
he's related to Brandon, so he's also a Lowe. I don't
Yeah.
know.
So
I've never
when I
known.
do the recap and I put it in there, I put Lowe in parentheses for Josh Lowe, and then I put now for Brandon Lowe because it rhymes with now. That's on the baseball reference sheet. That's just that's brutal. They're both on the same team, and hey, as Kevin mentioned, they're both in the lineup again, and that's good for the Rays. They need every bat they can get.
Yeah, I found it interesting that they had Josh DHing today. I know he's coming back from injury, but he is a very good defensive outfielder, and so.
Yeah.
It feels like their offense is still a little bit lacking when you don't have him, because you have Cameron Misner in center, who's a center fielder. You have Simpson in left, who's a center fielder. You have it's a lot of center field profiles. So getting him to be that corner outfield slugger type, and you can put a hitter in at DH, gives you a little bit more well-rounded outfield. So it's good that they get him back. And it's good that everybody but Jonathan Aranda gets on base here. Every single person got a hit and got on base except for Jonathan Aranda, who goes 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts. Little golden sombrero there.
Ooh. Give you a final thought, one final swing.
A lot of not a lot of games, but still a lot of tough luck losses. Either dudes having to wear a blowout or guys pitching great and not getting the win. And I am hyped for Chris Sale versus Garrett Crochet tomorrow.
Subscribe to the Locked On MLB YouTube channel. Subscribe and give us a 5 for 5 review on the audio podcast as well. This is MLB Game Night. Every game, every night. Lindsay and I back with you Friday night, Saturday morning for a full 15-game schedule right here on MLB Game Night.